My name is Casey Harris, and I work with an organization called One, and we're based out of San Antonio, Texas, but we work with people all over the world. And my role is the director of programs. I've been in lots of different roles with the organization, kind of almost all of them. And my sweet spot is doing the work, the teaching and the learning and designing work of our programs and helping make sure those are implemented. And so I've gone through in the last 13 years of working with One, a lot of different programs around business development. And I would say the headline about working with John has been, this is the first program that has stuck for us and actually helped us and our unique needs, I would say. And I don't think they're actually super unique. I think that it's probably more common, but that is, I think System and Soul has been easy to use, and John has used it really well with us. So we've stuck to it much longer than we have anything else that's come our way or that we found and tried to implement. Before we have hired different consultants, and then we've also just done different programs where you've got your different goals and objectives and strategies, whatever words people are using, and you try to get it all on one page or, and have certain meetings around it. And I'd say we'd used 3 different ones, and kind of they would fade out. We were not doing a great job of, continuing in them. And we brought in consultants who would help us kind of get a fresh, wind in our sails. And then I think because they didn't continue on with us with a program that made sense to us and continued to teach us about the program and check in with us and keep us accountable and say, are you using this? Because we had not done that before. John coming in and introducing System and Soul to us and then continuing to really hold our hands has made all the difference. And I think we are not, I don't want to say we're not business minded, because that's not actually it. We don't have, just like most businesses, but let me say it this way. Very many nonprofits like us, the operators of the programs are also operating the business. And so you feel like you're wearing 10 hats, and you feel like you're kind of underwater to ever actually be at a place where you would hire people to do those things, but then it can get like somewhat bureaucratic, and that's not what you want. And I think the nonprofit world is not as clean and resourced in a smart way as the business world is. And so I think we in some ways had kind of thrown up our hands around trying to do everything and be everything to everyone. But we're there because we love what we do. We love the ministry, we love the work, we love the programs that we do. And we were really at a place where we were like done trying to do it everybody else's way, done trying to make ourselves look like every other nonprofit, and really wanted to run more like a smart entrepreneurial startup, because we kind of took ourselves back down to the basics. We stopped doing a lot of the things that we had been doing around fundraising because it was unsustainable. The way that we were functioning was going to cause us all to quit and burn out, which is the case for a lot of fundraising driven nonprofits. And so we just wanted to think differently. And that's when John came in to the work that we did. And he also started doing System and Soul. And he is a really strategic thinker and has helped a lot of different businesses. And so he just naturally started having good conversations with me and our executive director about things, and then introduced us to System and Soul. And I think what's worked so well about it is that we were at a place where we were really done trying to play the game of trying to do these programs and then them kind of falling flat. And he knew we really needed flexibility, hand-holding, and more time. And then System and Soul, I really do love the platform. I think it's very usable. The app is really user-friendly. And because John was familiar with who we were and what we do, and he had a relationship with us first, we weren't worried really about John, it wasn't just some external, doesn't know us person coming in that we're starting at zero with. And that helped a lot. But I would say in some ways, it was almost triggering just to sit down and go through another process because we have done this many times. And a lot of times it was somewhat of a waste of time, which isn't necessarily even a reflection on other programs as it was on us. But I absolutely did like System and Soul better than the other ones that I had used. And so that helped. And then John understanding like there's certain parts of this that aren't going to be as pertinent to you guys. And, it's going to take some time for you guys to really use certain elements of this or ever, if you will. So John, I would say John made it very user friendly for us. And but yes, we were definitely a little skeptical of another program. I would say about a year into working with System and Soul and John, it wasn't like we were implementing it perfectly or that we're sitting there with System and Soul up and checking it every day, because we still don't use it like that. But the process of every quarter really, really looking at it together and having a good conversation about it, the process of using it in our weekly meetings, that after about a year and really starting to implement that, I would say that's when it started to help just focus us a lot more and also show us where we've lost focus. Those are the two things that probably help the most. And then just the process every quarter of sitting down with John has made all the difference. I would say, I don't think we would be using it if it weren't for John continuing to meet with us. The thing that I think has been most valuable has been really looking at our economic engine, and then we've needed to shift everything about our the way that we do not the way we run our programs, but basically the way that we charge, the way that we generate money. And so System and Soul and John, I think looking at what drives our engine, what is really this thing that we're going to come back to with goals has been important, because we were very scattered and we were kind of trying new things. And to then just, I appreciate the word bets that's used, but to kind of center something and make bets about what would happen if we did those things, and if we really focused on certain things as the drivers for that, would be a big one. So for instance, just a little bit more tangible example, we went a lot stronger into our socials and into our podcasting in order to drive people into our community, which is the economic engine that we have, which people who are part of our community getting value, they all give. It's essentially it's almost like they're the members of our church who tithe, but it's a recurring donation that they give. So that was a big shift for us, because before we had people giving to us who were outside the organization, didn't really even know what the organization was doing, just coming to events that we had to spend a ton of our time doing, to really wanting everything to work together. The ministry and the work that we're doing is also funding the work that we're doing, so that we're not kind of doing the ministry here and then having to dance over here, Yeah. So I think getting really clear on what our economic engine is, getting clear on, I'm blanking on my words, but just that first screen where you look at your hedgehog and all of that clarity for us to make a transition has been really helpful, to just continue to return to that and focus on that, and then change what we need to change to make that work. Well, I think the best part of it is probably now, where I do feel like we've gotten over that hump of, are we even going to use this again, to finding the value of it, to being consistent with it. So now it feels like it could actually really be a resource, now that we're comfortable with it, now that we kind of have this rhythm going and the accountability, like you said, of John. And we have made really good changes as an organization. We are doing the things we want to be doing to move the needle. So I feel a lot of gratitude and anticipation about how good it's going to be, and that System and Soul will continue to really be an important tool. And I guess, the shift from before, kind of rolling our eyes like another program, but we're going to trust John, to no, we're really grateful for this. This is a really, great part that we feel comfortable with. It's from skepticism to gratitude is probably where I'd say we are now. And looking forward, I think it's going to be really, really good. Now it feels like more momentum. Well, I think the combination is so powerful. That is absolutely what I feel like I keep saying during this, but it's true that the coaching and accountability that John provides. And I'm sure there's other people that use System and Soul to do the same thing. I'm not exactly sure, but I think that's been crucial for us. And then the fact that he chose System and Soul to use as the program, I'm so grateful. So I think both of them are incredibly effective when used together, to have somebody that can really help you navigate it. But then the program is wonderful. And I really love the languaging. I really love that it doesn't have you doing all kinds of things that seem confusing. It's very streamlined, and so the coaching and the program are both essential.